So 5 things everybody should know before it comes to running Facebook ads for their e-commerce brand, right? There are a lot of people on, a lot of platforms talking a lot of things about different things that you should be doing and shouldn't be doing when it comes to running Facebook ads profitably for your e-commerce brand. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 things you must know before even considering launching and running your first advertisement. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into it. Hello and welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to just another video here on my channel. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Victor and I am the founder of a boutique Facebook marketing agency that is called Victory Media that exclusively works with e-commerce brands, to properly implement Facebook ads and scale their business to the next level. So as you might have already guessed, I have been, kind of fortunate enough to, work with a couple of e-commerce brands here and there and either, start them off from scratch with Facebook ads or scale them to hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising spend on Facebook. And therefore, I've been fortunate enough to, pick up a thing or two here and there. And therefore, we're going to talk about it. I am going to reveal today the 5 things you need to know before it comes to running your first Facebook ad by yourself. So let's start off right now by, the first point, which is Facebook ads and this whole Facebook advertising platform is not just, some type of hack, right? I've seen it day in, day out. E-commerce brands or just generally advertisers coming into the game, thinking of, some kind of secret targeting option that they need to discover, some secret button that they need to click in order to scale profitably, or, some type of creative that they just need to, iterate before they can then scale profitably and be in the safe haven. Well, unfortunately, first of all, paid social, it doesn't matter at which spending levels you are, will always be a roller coaster. But first and foremost, before even considering whether Facebook ads, should be for you and your company or not, or whether you should invest those 5, 10, 15, or maybe even, the complete advertising budget for the next quarter into Facebook ads, you should be aware that this is not some type of hack, right? On Facebook alone, there are 1.9 billion, sorry, I almost forgot the billion, right? 1.9 billion monthly active users, right? So there's definitely your target audience on there, and Facebook's advertising platform and network definitely has the ability to reach those target customers with your advertisement. So there's not something like a secret hack or button that you just need to discover that then will, dissolve all your problems within your business, right? Facebook just, requires testing, and you need to put in the work and do the testing in order to make this platform work for you. So having mentioned that first point, that Facebook ads isn't just some kind of a hack that, works for some people or some products, or where you just have to simply, kind of discover some type of secret button. Having that in the back of your mind, we come to the second point on the agenda, which is we only have about like $5,000 per month in advertising budget to deploy on Facebook's advertising platform. You should seriously consider not running Facebook ads. And probably the majority of you guys are right now just about to click out of this video because you're thinking, okay, this guy is completely contradicting himself. And I am aware that my first point was that, every company out there can make it, can make Facebook ads win for them, but only technically, right? Because technically there is the, target audience on there that, is definitely qualified to buy your product or service or offer, right? And technically you could come in front of those people with the right advertisement at the right time and actually convert them into a loyal and paying customer. However, this requires budget, time, and testing. And in the days of rising data privacy laws, limited or even completely missing tracking, and tracking transparency, where you need even more and more budget in order to get, Facebook's AI, Facebook's artificial intelligence to work properly and do the heavy lifting for you, $5,000 or less than $5,000, just like a couple of $1,000s, will probably not really cut it for you, especially if you're trying to go out for cold audiences, at a high average order value, right? I mean, I always recommend for every e-commerce brand out there to just have a couple of remarketing or dynamic product remarketing campaigns running, right, on the side, on the back end, just kind of to have those sales and kind of to be in front and to stay present, with the people that have already been in touch with your brand. But if you seriously want to go after Facebook ads, or if you are seriously considering Facebook as an additional channel to your, traffic distribution or as a tool to scale your business to the next level, then unfortunately $5,000 is just not going to cut it, right? You need, preferably at least a bigger advertising budget. I would say around, kind of $5,000 is kind of that starting round. I mean, below $5,000, you can also do some kind of things here and there, right, in terms of remarketing, testing different creatives. But as I said, right, technically there is definitely your target audience on Facebook, and you will be able to use Facebook as a tool to communicate to those people your, value proposition, your product offering, how it can add value to their lives. But this requires testing from, in terms of audience testing, in terms of creative testing, as well as just general, general input and budget and money to really kind of kickstart Facebook's AI and let it start working for you and your brand. So now we have talked about the two things that pretty much apply to everybody and anybody, and do not really talk about Facebook's advertising platform in particular, right? That is, first, your advertising or your target audience is definitely on Facebook, and secondly, if you have less than $5,000 in budget, probably Facebook will not really be the best, channel performance and the best channel for you to invest that money into. So let's get into the tactical stuff. And the third thing you need to know before it comes to running Facebook ads is that you shouldn't overcomplicate it, right? All of those YouTubers out there, a lot of people out there try to overcomplicate it, that you need to do this strategy whatsoever, right? You need to, kind of, especially like a couple of years ago, you needed to narrow down this, whatever, breakdown. So you have like 1,000 things that essentially just produce a lot of procrastination and brain fog. And especially nowadays, after, iOS 14.5, as well as where Facebook's AI has become a lot better over the last 2 years here now in 2022, right? You shouldn't really overcomplicate it, and the consolidation of, your ad sets, your campaigns, as well as, your creative test is key to succeed with Facebook. So make sure to hop onto my channel and watch through the videos where I talk about Facebook's ads best practices as well as strategies, and you will really quickly notice that consolidation is the way to go in 2022 when it comes to Facebook advertising for e-commerce brands, right? You want to make sure that you have the highest likelihood of your ad set actually exiting the learning phase, as well as every ad creative that you're adding into an ad set is an extra variable where Facebook needs more learning and a longer data feedback loop in order to properly, deliver those ads to your audience. So, keep it simple, especially in the beginning, right? A lot of those people that are talking about having 4 or 5, ad sets within your, within an ad set and cycling a new ad set or 2 or even 3 new ad sets every week are usually operating at, almost corporate levels where they're spending $5 to, sometimes up to $2 million per month on Facebook, right? Usually, I am guessing the majority of you guys that are watching this video right now are anywhere in the realm of probably spending between 5 to 100K per month, especially when you're in the realm of like 5 to 20K, right? Don't be too focused on, okay, how many ad creatives do I need? What big thing do I need to do before launching Facebook ads? Just get going, but don't overcomplicate it, and really make sure that you consolidate all your learnings within the ad sets, or at least as many learnings as possible within one ad set. So that was point number 3, to be a little bit more technical, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Consolidate your ad sets, as well as do not really spread your budget across different campaigns, different ad sets, if you do not really have the budget to do so, right? Even the accounts where we are spending multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, right? We usually just have 3 campaigns and maybe 5 to 6 ad sets, right? So really don't overcomplicate it, and really make sure that you're consolidating your learnings as well as your budget. Now, having talked about learnings, having talked about consolidation, the 4th point goes hand in hand with really letting, kind of Facebook do the heavy lifting for you in terms of consolidating and exiting the learning phase, as well as kind of consolidating your learnings in forms of data. But the 4th thing is to don't be too hands-on or don't be too hands-off, right? Those are usually kind of the 2 extremes that I notice when I start working with a new client, when I kind of take a look and make an analysis of the account. And that is either, right, people go inside of an ad account on a daily basis and try to change things on a daily basis, right? try to, increase the budget here, decrease the budget there, turn off the ad set there, right? Cycle in a new ad creative here, right? And they're trying to make so many changes because they think that the more they work and change within the ad account, the better outcome there will be, because, obviously more work equals more results, right? But that is not true in a couple of cases, and Facebook ads is one of those scenarios where, more work does not really equal, more results, at least not in the short term, right? Especially since iOS 14.5 hit, we have a lot more of a, not necessarily delayed attribution, because this is something that was, that was a little bit different before iOS 14.5 hit actually, but sometimes the purchase pixel event is only firing up to 72 hours later than the actual purchase happened. So we do not really have any real-time tracking anymore when it comes to Facebook ads, or at least relative to our, previous scenarios. Therefore, you want to give your ad sets, your ad creatives, and everything that you launch at least 3 days at a time before you make any significant edit or decision that leads to a different outcome for this ad set, right? So therefore, you want to make sure that you are launching an ad set or launching a creative test, and you are sure that everything looks right, and you know what kind of outcome you want to get out of that, and that you're not improvising along the way, right? This becomes even more important when you're operating on lower budgets, because this comes back to the second rule of when you are operating, or when you have less than $5,000 in advertising spend per month, right? Maybe Facebook is not the right option for you, but if you decide to do so either way, then you really want to make sure that you have your creatives honed in, that you have done your proper pre-work, homework, and pre-research whatsoever before launching those things, because then it really comes back to just letting it run for literally 14 days, 10 days, and then making a decision based off of that. However, here we were in the one extreme, and I just talked about letting it run for 14 days or whatsoever, and that is the other extreme that I sometimes, kind of see happening within ad accounts that are not really performing on target, and that is, just as I said, people or advertisers letting it run for too long, right? For too long, they're too hands off. They just think, okay, there's no optimization necessary. I'll just let Facebook do all the work, and I am just focusing on other things in my life, or I'm just taking a quick vacation, right? And that is also not really right? Usually, as I said, I'm always making a decision between 3 to 5 days. If I'm really working on a low spending account that, as I said, is below $5,000 per month, we usually, give it like 7 days, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how the results look like. But it's really, really rare that we're taking it longer than 10 days. And as I said, if you are in a spending level where you're really trying to go for some cold audiences, and you do have the possibility of going outside of the learning phase whatsoever, right? If those are, by the way, words that you do not really understand, make sure to check out my channel and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with those terms, as well as, get to know what I'm actually talking about right here. However, as I said, if you are in the realm of actually, being able to get to those levels, then 3 days will be your golden rule, right? You want to have always 48 to 72 hours at least, after the launch of an ad set before you make any definite decision. So, and the fifth and last thing that I think everybody should know is creative is king. I feel like the majority of advertisers out there are always trying to go or discover that targeting setting that they think will solve all their issues, and then, their ROAS will skyrocket and they will just be able to scale all the way along, right? Unfortunately, however, especially since iOS 14.5 hit, and, probably, however, since already like the last 2-3 years, creative has become more and more important, and creative is king when it comes to Facebook advertisements, right? Why not, right? Why also not? Why should it be the opposite? Literally, with every other marketing channel out there, creative is and was always king. So, only when there was like in 2018, 2019, this dropshipper phase, and when everybody was like, hey, you have to narrow down this, whatever, it really became kind of popular to say that targeting is more important when it comes to Facebook than creative. But this is especially for like a push channel that Facebook is, push marketing channel. Creative is king, right? You always want to make sure that you prioritize your creative test in front of your audience test, especially if your audience is broad and you have a sophisticated and already seasoned pixel, right? Usually your ads are going at least to some type of a qualified audience. So that is something that I have a lot of videos on in that channel, right? about creative optimization, creative analysis, right? Creative, iteration, just in general, right? So you want to make sure that you get to know what you want to do and how you can communicate and message your USPs, your value propositions for your brand properly, and actually convert your prospects from Facebook to your website. So, and this is already pretty much it, right? We've talked about the 5 things everybody needs to know, in my opinion, before it comes to running Facebook ads for your e-commerce brand. And that is, first, right, this is not some type of hack. In order to win with Facebook, you need to put in the work. You need to make sure that, you're testing new creatives, you're testing new audiences, you're trying to really go also for a holistic approach of your growth, right? And not only kind of trying to go for that secret button. Secondly, right, if you do not really have the proper budget at hand, which totally is okay, right? Everybody has been there, and every brand probably that is starting out will not really be able to spend super high, figures on Facebook. So if you're below that threshold of, like, I would say $3,000 to $5,000 minimum on Facebook per month, probably your money is better spent elsewhere. Like Google CPC, although I hate to admit it, is probably a better channel because you can start with a lower budget, kind of test the waters here and there, because it's kind of more of a pull marketing channel than a push marketing channel. So that is definitely one thing. The third thing that we talked about, don't get, kind of too overcomplicated. Really make sure that you consolidate not only your learnings, but also really have the least amount of, or the most amount of budget allocated to one campaign, to one ad set, blah, blah, blah. Fourth is, don't be too hands off, neither too hands on. We've talked about that 72 hours kind of rule that you really always want to have in mind. And if you're, as I said, on those lower budgets, you really want to make sure that everything is properly in line, and you can give it literally like 10 days if you're only running on $30 per day, right? So that is the fourth. And the fifth and the last thing is creative is still king. You want to make sure that you're constantly iterating and optimizing your creative, because this is just really what moves the needle when it comes to Facebook advertising. And that is pretty much it, right? This is, what you need to know before it comes to running Facebook ads. I'm not going to tell you that now you will be successful, profitable, you will scale your Facebook ads to the moon, but I feel like you'll definitely know a lot more than just kind of jumping into the cold water. However, if you want to have more support when it comes to running your Facebook ads for your e-commerce brand, and you are running, you're anywhere in the realm of $150,000 to $10 million in annual revenue, right? Then make sure to scroll down to the first link in this description of this video, and schedule into a completely free discovery call with me personally, right? Where we can chit chat about your particular growth hurdles, what you want to achieve, and how we might be able to actually help you overcome that. Either way, I'm sure that you will walk out with more tangible advice, in regards to Facebook and your paid social marketing whatsoever than when you came in with, and I'm sure that this will help a lot of people out there. So either way, thanks for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Keep growing. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you've come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.